Welcome, Virgo. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I hope you enjoy the insights here in this general reading. So in your first house, we have South Node, which is life's debts. So this is a karmic card, actually. What it's connected to in the first house is everything to do with the self, your appearance, how you come across to others. So it's your personality, your characteristics, and physical body, and also it also represents your self-oriented interests. So with the South Node, life's debts coming in there, basically what it's saying is that you are required to make quite significant changes actually at this time. So this represents a turning point or a wake-up call. Basically, you need to shift yourself out of your comfort zone, cast off old habits, situations, people, places. Basically get out of any kind of rut that you're in. It's time to grow and develop. And this has to happen in ways that are aligned with you now. So we're always changing, we're always growing, and sometimes we take on certain aspects, whether it's an attitude or a belief, and it just, you outgrow it, you outlive it, it doesn't suit you anymore, it's not actually helping you. And this is what this is about. This is about actually helping yourself, because you need to actually activate your life path, your life purpose, get on course for whatever it is that you want to do, what you came here to do. And if you're stuck in a rut, or you're stuck in perceptions which don't actually serve you, then it's going to make you really, really uncomfortable, and you just won't grow, So it's about casting off, as I said, habits, situations, people, and places. Have you perhaps been overly critical of yourself in the past? Perhaps you've been introverted, or perhaps you overwork to make up for other aspects of your life. So you could also not be focused on your dreams, which is really what's important now with this. So what it's asking you to do is to actually align yourself with your highest vision of yourself, it really is really important, and it's going to affect every other area of your chart. It comes up again and again and again, and it's going to really activate a huge amount of parts in your life which are waiting to be changed, waiting to be activated, but it won't happen until you put these sort of aspects in place. So it's a lot of self-examination. What can I change? What just isn't working for me anymore? What are you tired of? Do you have that voice in your head which is constantly criticizing yourself for this or for that, or not feeling that you're good enough, or whatever it might be? It's time to change that now, because you're your own best friend. You are your brand, and you actually have to be the very best version of yourself in whatever way, shape, or form. And don't compare yourself with others. That's not going to help either. This card can also bring in endings and beginnings in some form as well. So now I'm leading on from that. Once you start activating a stronger persona, something that's more aligned with who you are, then you can start activating this as well, because this is your second house. This is everything to do with your money, your income, and it's also to do with your possessions, what you own, and very much aligned with your self-worth and your values. So if your self-worth is low, you're not going to attract what you require. So you've got to work on that, and this will give you a boost for sure. Part of fortune increase, this is about literally an increase of across the board, any one of those areas in your second house. So once you start aligning with who you are and showing the very best version of yourself, then possibly what will also happen is you will activate abilities and talents that have sort of been hidden under the surface, haven't really been acknowledged, or you just simply have ignored it because you've been afraid. So you'll start to find that things will rise up. Things will come up from underneath, from being hidden, from being unacknowledged. They will get stirred into action, and then they will start to rise up. And from those, activating those abilities, those talents, or whatever you want to call it, that will then attract all kinds of things to you. It will attract income, it will attract money, it will attract a better version of what you're projecting to others. It will improve your self-worth and your values. And also your possessions will possibly improve as well if you want. There's certain things you want to own. If you're feeling a bit more confident and a bit more abundant, then it increases flow. And this will certainly activate it for you. You can expect flow, success, rewards. You may even have to study a little bit further to activate those talents and abilities which are now making themselves known. You can enjoy some popularity, and you will be able to move ahead with your plans and what it is you want to do. Then in the third house, again, following on from everything I've already discussed, your third house is everything to do with communication, verbal, written. It's also your body language, and it also covers documents and contracts of all kinds. So with Mars force coming in there, very powerful planet. It's an action planet. So this is about activating passionate expression. So it's about being direct, it's about being clear, not angry or not aggressive, but this is measured action, measured words, measured energy and purpose. It's also about activating your and going after your goals and desires in any one of those areas. So this is all about communication. When you can communicate adequately to others what it is you're trying to say and what you're trying to activate, then you can pull towards you what you require. And it's about being positive. It's about also having your say. So you may need to speak up and be very clear and direct about what it is, and you may need to be have a sort of a passionate exchange about certain things. This house also covers siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. So it's kind of family members, but it's also obviously the greater other people you're dealing with, the greater public, and so on. This card can also indicate possibly that you may have to defend yourself in some way, or you may have to confront somebody. You might have to compete for something or sort of fight for what you want. But as I said, it's measured action. Be very clear, even if you have to write things down first before you speak. Be prepared. Be prepared. It could also mean that you have an encounter with somebody who is quite aggressive or who is very forthright or very energetic, and this influences you greatly as well. So it could be that as well. Then in the fourth house we have Grand Trine Blessings, lovely card. This is bringing a very nice influence for you. Fourth house is everything to do with your home life, and also it's your ethnic identity, your sort of ancestral inheritance, your roots, your foundation. So with this coming in, if this is to do with your home life specifically, then this is bringing in harmony, balance, flow. It's also, it may have a financial aspect as well. So something could come into like a boost or some sort of gift, or money is going to flow to you in order to do certain things in your home, or to change your home life, or to change your lifestyle. But it's also about following the path of least resistance. So go with the flow with the current, see how things are moving. You still have to keep your hand on the wheel though and steer things. Keep your goals in mind. Don't become complacent because you're feeling happy and content and sort of, oh, well, we'll do it next week or next month or whatever. You still have to activate. You still have to work towards what you want. But this is going to give you a lift and sort of push you in the direction that you need to go. It's also about luck. It's about opportunities coming to you. So maybe you will receive some sort of financial benefit towards what you want in your home, or just some kind of blessing coming to you. It also it could, as I said, be an opportunity of some sort coming up. And then once you recognize it, activate it, go for it, and follow it, and see where it leads you. Then in the fifth house, we have Scorpio, I Transform. So this is a very powerful card. Obviously, it's everything to do with transformation. So there are two sides to this. The fifth house really is everything to do with children. So children, your own children or children that you're involved with. It's also the house of creativity. So this is all aspects of creativity. It could be your creativity that you're seeing in your children, or your relationship with them, or your own particular brand of creativity as well. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so this is also, the fifth house is also about creativity in all forms. So this can be your relationship with your children, or you could be seeing creativity in them, or it could be your actual creativity yourself, which is not necessarily artistic. It can be in any form. You can be creative in the way you decorate your home. You can be creative in managing your time. You can be sort of creative with how you speak and how you tackle various types of projects and so on. So creativity comes in many forms. The fifth house also deals with love affairs, and it also deals with all forms of recreation and like sports clubs and different types of activities, all kinds of whatever gives you pleasure and whatever you enjoy. Yeah, so the fifth house covers all of that. With Scorpio, I transform, as I say, it's quite a powerful card. It is about transformation. So this could be coming in on any one of those areas for you. So that can actually be, if for instance, if you've got your relationship with your children, it's about either transforming that, or you may be asked to transform that, or they may be going through that and you are seeing that in them. Perhaps they've got various types of projects on the go, or they're completing their schooling, or whatever is going on. You're going to be experiencing some sort of transformation yourself, or you're going to see it in your children. What it does, this brings on a sort of a deep self-analysis. So you may be going through that, or you're seeing it in your children. It's also about transformation of relationships and the desires that each of you have in your relationships. And I'm talking specifically with children or with your love partner. It's also about bringing in the ability to take a situation and turn it around so that it works for everybody. But it's a very intense card. It's a very powerful card. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's also about gaining wisdom, because it's deep understanding, it's deep analysis of various issues, it's deep analysis of a situation as well, and really getting down to the nitty-gritty and understanding deeper motivations of things. So it could also be, as I said, in connection with a love affair or a new love partner that's coming in, and it will be very passionate because it's Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto, so very passionate, very sexual encounter, or it could just be your deep desires when it comes to sports that you're involved in, or the recreation facilities that you sort of are enjoying, or whether it's a hobby or some kind of interest, but it's something that you're pursuing with deep passion. But you may also be seeing machinations going on amongst other people that you're moving in, groups that or people that you're encountering during the course of your children's day, or yourself, or it could even be through your love partner, or it could even be, as I said, through some creative pursuit. Also, something with this is it's about examining your control issues, or you may and your programming, what programming you have had in your life up until now. Where can you transform that to make it of a much better, higher version of yourself? Or how can you help your children to transform that? Because they do, in this current schooling systems, in a lot of ways, they do go through a lot of programming. So it's about you're seeing this in some way, shape or form. It could be how you're relating to your children, or you're seeing it in them. But it's about examining your own control issues and also theirs, but it's also about the programming. You may see this in various your relationships, or with other people that you're involved with in any one of those areas of your life. It's also about avoiding any kind of maneuvering or manipulation. because that comes in very strongly with this. That is a shadow aspect of Scorpio. It could also be that something that was hidden or was not seen before, wasn't noticed, is now coming out. It will come up from underground. It's been buried, or something has been sort of just not seen. It's now going to come up because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto rules the underground, and whatever is hidden will come to light. So it could be some deeper, as I said, deeper motivations or deeper machinations that are going on, and you're seeing this now. It could also be jealousy. It could also just be even some sort of secret, or something that, as I said, some undisclosed detail. And this could come up in your love affair. It could come up with your children. It could come up in sort of some recreational activity. Maybe you're doing that with others and you're seeing this in them. Or it could be your own deeper drives that are now coming out. As I said, this fifth house also rules sports as well. So it's also a very charismatic sign. So you could be getting involved with somebody who has got all these scorpionic qualities. So very passionate, very charismatic, very deep. They don't give a lot of details away. They can be quite secretive as well. Also quite wise. It depends what type of Scorpio you're dealing with, or scorpionic influence. This card can also bring a blessing in disguise. So do you understand what I'm saying? It's something that's disguised or hidden. Suddenly you see it for what it is really, and it turns out to be a blessing. So yeah, it's quite a detailed, very deep influence to be having in that house. So just see how that pans out for you. But I do feel also it's to do with, again, linked to this first house card that we had, which was which is letting go of old issues and things and people and situations in your life. It may be coming out in your fifth house. It may be showing itself in there as well. And whatever you're putting into place there is going to spill over into this house as well. Then in your sixth house, this is the house of work, your workplace, your work colleagues. It's also your projects that you're working on. It's also your mastery of whatever is your craft, whatever is your speciality. It's mastering that. And it's also your health and your diet, and it's also the house of pets. So now with this card, this is Saturn, it's truth. So it's very much indicated in the work house and also in your health, because Saturn is another very strong influence coming in for you. It really depends on where you're at in your development and your maturity and your time management and so on. Because if you're really working with Saturn, you will have very good control measures in place. You will have good, strong foundation and so on. But if you haven't got that, if you haven't developed more mature approaches to how you work, what you're working at, and having a sort of a wise approach, then Saturn is going to basically come in and teach you a bit of a lesson, because it's about what you will sow, what you reap. What you sow, you will reap. So what you plant now and what you build now is going to give you a very good foundation, and you'll get the rewards later for that. So what you need to do is also assess your needs and your wants. What do you need as opposed to what you want? Because your needs are going to be more important than your wants with this card. And it's also about being realistic and being practical and methodical. You're going to have to bring in all those Saturn aspects to actually really get to grips with the work that you have on hand and so on. It's also about not giving up, because things will be difficult. You will feel a bit restricted, and things will be a little bit tough, actually. You're going to be really slogging. And so Saturn is all about putting pressure on in order to ensure that you build properly, that you are going to have a solid achievement. You cannot have a solid achievement if you're doing things quickly and carelessly, or building a really wobbly foundation for whatever it is that you're undertaking. You cannot do that when Saturn is in the house. So it's also about following the rules, working within the rules. It could also be bringing in some sort of authority figure, or like a sage or a teacher or a mentor. Somebody like that could be coming in and basically assisting you with what you're doing, or they could be a bit of a taskmaster. But when that comes in for you, you've got to learn to work with it, because later on in life, or some years from now, when you look back, you will realize that you learned an incredible amount during that period. It may have been tough, it may have been very restrictive, you may have had a lot of rules to follow, and it may have been quite trying, a trying period, but it's a growth period, and when you apply yourself, the growth will be magnificent later on. So it's also about lessons, mastering lessons, as I said. Just be solid and practical with what you're doing, and be realistic about what you can achieve as well at this time. This is a very slow moving energy as well. When it comes to the health and the diet, you may, what you will need to do is actually look after your bones, your skeletal structure, and your teeth, your tendons and your ligaments as well, because Saturn rules all of that in the body. So you may find you have dental issues, or you may just be feeling like you know, especially if you're going to be doing various types of activities or overworking, then sometimes these things start to come out. And if you're busy with a physical activity, tendons and ligaments and so on could get strained, and various other options. So, but if you know you have a tooth issue or teeth issues that you need to address, do it, because otherwise it could be really quite difficult later on. So yeah, just be aware of that. Then in the 7th house, this follows on again from the 1st house. How you are in yourself and how you're projecting to others is directly going to affect your close personal relationships. So this the 7th house deals with all close personal relationships, one-on-one relationships. So that can be your love partner, or it can be a business partner, and other close personal relationships if you're not in a love relationship. So this is going to be, as I said, directly affected by how you are, what changes you're making to yourself, your outward self, and what you're projecting to others, how you're interacting with others. So this card comes in to basically, there's two sides to this. It can be perceived in two different ways. It depends on what's going on. It could also be that your partner is going through this, or it's you and your partner going through this. But basically, what it's the positive, the higher aspects of Neptune are its dreaminess, its imagination, its intuition, it's being very tuned into your partner, or very tuned into the circumstances or to the people that you're in this close personal relationship with. It's artistic, it's very glamorous, yeah, there's a lot of higher aspects there. It's a beautiful, it's almost like a divine connection. So this could be also the arrival of a very important love connection to you, almost like the love of your life. Or we could go the other way. And the other side of Neptune is the what you would call, so I suppose, the darker side of it. But what you could be grappling with is somebody who is overly dreamy, or they're a bit escapist, or they may not be who they appear to be. So you've got the two sides of it like that. The other side of this is that how you are in your relationship. Sorry, I'm just going to let my cat out one moment. Hi, sorry for that. Okay, so so with this coming in, as I said, you do have all those lovely positive aspects, but then the other side of it is that there may, as the word indicates, you may have to make, you or your partner, or both of you may have to make sacrifices on some level. Usually it's, what it means is letting go of certain things for the greater good. Okay, so it could be a surrender of some sort, or it could be a surrender of an ego issue. So you may have to just let go of something in order to bring greater harmony to the relationship. But it also brings in issues to do with self-sabotage. So this is bringing in old programming, as I've said before. It's mentioned already, old programming or old ideals, or things that just are not going to work in this kind of relationship. So it's also about putting boundaries in as well. If you're having a sort of a relationship which is almost like confusing, or things are not clear, it's a little bit clouded, then you will need to insert your boundaries and be very direct and very clear about what is going on in this relationship. But it could also be you doing that, or you sort of trying to impose certain things on the other person. So as I said, that in that case, then you have to do this deep self-analysis, which we've already been through. Look at how you may be self-sabotaging the relationship, or what it is you may have to let go of in order to make the relationship work. This Neptune can also, because it's a sort of there is some kind of cloudedness, things are not clear. It could be that there's a bit of deceptive behavior going on, whether it's yours or the other person. And also escapism does come as well. So not addressing certain issues, just because they're not clear, you just let it go, and therefore it gets away from you, and now you have to deal with a problem. So it really is so double-sided like that. You're really going to have to assess what is going on in the relationship and be direct and clear. That is the best course of action right now. Or as I said, if you're not having any of those experiences and you're now having a really positive one, it's, as I said, it can be very beautiful and very divine. Or it could be just you are super tuned in. So always be aiming for that, but just be aware of the other darker elements that come with this influence. Then in the 8th house, we have air element, which is communication. So this comes in again very importantly with your relationship and with your other aspects, which we've covered again, because this really is, your 8th house is everything to do with your emotional and material resources in a deeper committed partnership. So whether that's a love partnership or a business partnership, it's all of the material and emotional resources that you are sharing, your joint resources. And it's also the deeper sexual side of your relationship as well. So it can also be, it also rules big finance. So that is things like insurances, inheritances, banking, accounting, investments. It's also tax. All of those sorts of bigger money issues, which come up when you're making a partnership. And it also, this 8th house also rules other people's money. So you may be in a profession where you're dealing with other people's money. It's a powerhouse. The 8th house is a powerhouse. There can be power struggles there. It's about sex, death, and rebirth. So there could be the ending of something and the starting of something new, or one door closing and a new door opening. But the crux of the whole thing is communication. So it's also about thoughts. So thoughts become important, very, very important. Your words become important. So think positive and speak positive. It's also about manifestation, because your thoughts will carry weight and they will manifest. So it's about that. So think positive things. Think really well about everything. Do your very best, because whatever you are going to be dwelling on is going to manifest in some form. So this card also is about thinking things over, weighing things up, turning it over, looking at it from different ways, trying to decide what is the right course of action. But you will need to communicate in all forms about it. This is an air element, so not emotional. So what you're going to have to do is avoid emotional attachment, be objective, and be clear-sighted. You will be able to resolve issues if you harness this. If it's a business partnership or something like that, you may have air travel involved. But this also brings in, because it's communication, it brings in technology of all kinds. So whether you're using that in your profession to deal with other people's money, or you're going to be drawing up more detailed spreadsheets about your joint resources, or it could be a business venture that you want to undertake and it involves technology of some sort. So all of those elements do come in, but communication is key. It's going to be really the crux of the whole issue. Then in the 9th house, we have fire element, desire. 9th house covers everything to do with international travel. It also to do with foreign things, so whether it's import, export, or dealing with people from foreign countries, whether you're meeting them or you're communicating with them in some way. It could be online, so an online business, but it really is, it's global. This is the world. And it's also, the ninth house is also the house of teaching. It's the house of religion. It's the house of philosophy. And it's also the house of higher education. So this is university level or adult education. And it's also about public relations and publishing. So with this card coming in, this is energy. It's action. It's desire. It's about being assertive. So you may want to study something, or you may be in a course of study and you need to actually bring these elements in. It's also about getting started. So something that you want to start in any one of those areas. But whatever it is, you're going to have to take ownership of what you are doing. So take ownership of it, because if you don't, somebody else will. So if you're in some sort of group activity, perhaps you're studying something, you're in a group activity, you're going to have to take ownership of what you're doing and your input. Or it could be something that you, like I said, a religious belief or some kind of religious aspect that you're looking at, or it could be some other deeper belief system, or you may be teaching. But really, it's about putting yourself into gear and getting going. It's also it could also be about being spontaneous, but also look at the details. Don't overlook that. There could be sudden shifts with this card. You could be completely clearing the decks and starting again. So getting rid of almost like scorched earth policy. It could be that. The ninth house does also deal with the law as well. So you could be going into law. You could be dealing with a legal issue. It's about clearing away what isn't working and planting fresh things as well, or just really getting starting, just clearing the decks and really applying yourself to what needs to be done. So there could be changes coming to you, changes in direction. They could be very quick, fiery. You will literally have to jump. So it could also be to do with, if none of those are applying to you, it could also be to do with an international trip of some kind that you want to take. So it's what you desire. It could be something you really, really want to do. It could be, really quite a stimulating trip that you're planning or you're thinking about. And it's all about that. It's about stoking those desires for what it is that you want to do. It needs to be interesting and fulfilling as well with this card, because it's about what you desire. Then in the 10th house, this is your house of career. It's also your house of fame, reputation, and your public status. It's also the house of authority figures. So with Yod, destiny in there, it is exactly what it says. It's a destiny card. But this is also fated in some way. So you may just be finding that there's a bit of tension and stress. You may be feeling out of step with others. You may be feeling quite alone at this time. You may be pioneering and just feeling completely on your own, like you've really got to just buckle down and get on with what you're doing with very little support. But that's as it needs to be, because through that process you will find your truth and you will pioneer and you can make incredible progress actually, but it will feel there is quite a bit of stress that comes with this, because it's a very sharp angle, very pointed action that needs to be taken. You may be being driven as well to do certain things. The point with this is not to force things, because it is fated. So as things are flowing in this particular house for you, you've just got to apply yourself and go for it. There could be turbulence in your career, or things are just not kind of going as planned. There could be a lack of clarity. But really the card is, because it's got a sharp point to it, it's about focus on what is working for you. Focus on that. Put your energy on that and let go of unnecessary things. You may have to scale down if you've got too much on your plate. Or too many things you're trying to go after at one time. You may have to scale down. You also may find it really good for you to work on your own, or you may be forced to work on your own. But you must always, at all times, follow your own guidance in what comes up for you during the course of this period. As I said, it could be pioneering. You will have to be very dedicated. And you will have to be adaptable as well, be flexible, and apply patience to what it is you're doing, because it won't feel glamorous, it won't feel great by what you're doing. But if you put in the hard work and just persevere and clear out all the unnecessary stuff and focus literally on those very specific goals, then you can actually make great strides. But as I said, there is destiny and fate in this as well. Then in your 11th house, you have Virgo, I analyze. So your 11th house is everything to do with your friendships. It's also to do with groups that you're a member of, or associations, societies, clubs, networks. So this can be social networks, or it can also be to do with work, your business. So with Virgo, I analyze coming in, it's exactly that. You really need to declutter. Get rid of all extraneous things. Get rid of, if you've got too many, you're sort of a member of too many Facebook groups or too many other associations or societies, or you're just involved in too much, spreading yourself too thin, you're going to have a really serious look at everything and cut out what just doesn't serve you anymore, or it's just not working out for you. Just get rid of it and be quite detached about what you need to do. You need to analyze what is working for you, what isn't, and get rid of what isn't. This is a very detailed sign. It's about service work as well. That may come up for you. It also can bring in a lot of worry. So try to address all of those issues by focusing on the details and being very sort of analytical and mental. Apply your mental faculties to any kind of issue that's coming up in any one of those areas. You may also have a couple of friendships that need to go. They're just draining you in some way. They could be just exhausting. This can bring up sort of hypochondriasm, and it can also be just bringing up exhausting friends who just drain you. Or you may be coming across like that to your friends. So just be aware of your behavior, assess what's going on, try to sort of manage your situation. And if you are feeling stressed, take steps to deal with that. Or if you are overly worrying about things, take steps to address that. And if you've just got too much going on, you must simply cut out what's not working to give yourself a bit of space and a bit of freedom to then focus on what needs to be done. Also, Virgo is a critical sign, so you may be either the subject of criticism or you are being critical of others. Be aware of that. You need to be constructive, but also helpful with whatever you say and your analysis of certain situations. So this could be, as I said, some kind of project you're working on and you're now in a group situation. You bring your analytical abilities to bear, but they must be constructive and also helpful. So, you don't want to be seen as nitpicky and being just sort of an overly analytical, so that it's not actually helpful. It has to be constructive with what you're saying and what you're doing. Or you may just be asked to bring those abilities into the various groups and societies that you may be a member of. You may be sort of bringing those abilities to bear, and your analytical side is coming out quite strongly. I mean, you are a Virgo anyway, so that's going to be especially noted in this house. So in the 12th house, we have Venus Love. Very, very lovely sign to be having. This is your 12th house is everything to do actually with your deeper spiritual life. It's also about meditation, mysticism, healing, and also retreat and withdrawal, things like that. It can also be your deeper unconscious side, your unconscious drives. It's also about karmic inheritance. And the other side of it is escapism and addictions. And also it could also be your exposure or your experiences in various types of institutions, so whether that's hospitals or government departments, banks, any kind of institution. It could even be a library or a university. So with all of this coming in, I do feel what this is bringing in for you is perhaps to show, especially again coming back to this first house card, where you're now doing some deeper analysis about yourself and how you're projecting yourself outward. It could also be that you need to apply a bit of self-love to yourself, because when you love yourself and you love who you are, then you can love another. And it's about all of that. And it could also indicate, the 12th house also indicates sacred partners or sacred partnerships as well. So you could actually be meeting the love of your life, or you could be having a really sort of romantic and a romantic encounter, and there's just something really lovely about this person or this partnership. It could be that, or it could be the renewal of love in an existing partnership. But Venus is everything to do with love and romance. It's also everything to do with beauty. So, as I said, you may just need to give yourself a bit of a break. Also exhibit some compassion and understanding, and just spread the love around to yourself, but also to others, because if you are meeting others in various types of institutions, or if that could be part of your profession, then bring a bit of love in, because that will work wonders for the people around you. It's also about giving yourself and others comfort, nurturing, and reaching for, if it's to do with your work, or perhaps other areas of your life where this is required. It could also be reaching great heights with creativity, which is it's a very refined quality that comes in with this. It's also about finding happiness. If it's to do with this creative side of you, perhaps you've got some abilities coming to the fore. It's also about being exposed to beauty in all its forms, whether it's hair or jewelry or just beautiful objects or art or the arts. This is ballet and dance and all kinds of social activities, for the theatre, galleries. It's also about fashion. Comes in very strongly under Venus as well. So it's also about handcrafts and luxuries, and it's about charm and diplomacy as well. So you could be actually having access to a great many of these different aspects in your life, and if you're not applying them for yourself, then you could be bringing them into into your world, or it could be the spark or the start of something new in any one of those fields. And it's also about being social and being popular, and friendships, and a really great partnership as well. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you have a great month, and I will see you next time.